Kira stood in the diplomatic chamber of the Alliance vessel, her scaled hands clenched into fists at her sides. Through the viewport, her homeworld of Draxus hung like a wounded jewel against the black, its surface scarred by bombardment from the Hive invasion. 3 billion souls remained on that dying planet, and she alone held their salvation in her clawed grip. The treaty document glowed on the table, between her and the human delegation. One clause stood out in harsh lettering, a union between her, Princess Kira of the Draxian Empire, and a human officer to cement the alliance. Her people needed human military support, needed their impossible technology and their terrifying warriors. The price was her freedom. She had heard the stories about humans. Everyone in the known galaxy had. They were death-worlders from a planet so hostile it should never have birthed sentient life. They ate poison for pleasure, kept predators as companions, and laughed in the face of vacuum exposure. Worse, their military operated with a brutality that made even the Hive pause. Draxian scouts reported humans singing while they fought, celebrating after they turned enemy ships into expanding clouds of debris, and now she would belong to one of them. The human delegation leader, an older woman with gray streaks in her dark hair, gestured to the doorway. A figure entered, and Kira felt her secondary heart skip. He was tall, even for a human, with brown skin and kind eyes that seemed at odds with his military uniform. His name was Marcus Webb, a lieutenant commander in their fleet. He walked with the easy confidence of a predator, but when he saw her, he stopped and offered a slight bow. "Princess Kira," he said, his voice deep but gentle. "I understand this is not a situation either of us would have chosen." She said nothing. What could she say? That she despised him already? That the thought of binding herself to a creature from a world of monsters made her skin crawl beneath her scales? The ceremony was brief and cold. Kira spoke her vows in a monotone, staring at a point beyond Marcus's shoulder. When it ended, she was his wife, and he was her husband, and the alliance was sealed. Draxus would receive the full protection of humanity's Second Fleet. 3 billion lives secured by her sacrifice. Marcus led her to his quarters aboard the human flagship Indomitable. She expected a cell, a cage, some small space where he would keep his prize. Instead, the door opened to reveal a suite larger than her chambers on the royal palace. One wall was transparent, offering a view of space. Furniture designed for her physiology occupied half the room. "I had my crew modify the space," Marcus said, standing in the doorway. "The gravity can be adjusted to Draxian standard in your sections. The temperature, too. If there is anything else you need, tell me." Kira turned to face him, searching for mockery or deception in his expression. She found neither. "Why?" she asked. "Because this is your home now," he replied. "You should be comfortable in your own home." He left her alone then. She spent the first night curled in the corner farthest from the door, waiting for him to return and claim what humans surely believed was their right as a spouse. He never came. Days passed. The fleet moved toward Draxus, preparing to engage the Hive forces that infested the outer colonies. Marcus worked long hours, but each evening he returned to the quarters they shared. He never entered her section without permission. He never demanded anything of her. He simply existed in the same space, offering quiet greetings and asking if she needed anything. It unnerved her more than cruelty would have. Kira ventured into the common area where Marcus sat reviewing tactical displays. He looked up and smiled. "Join me?" he asked, gesturing to a chair. "I could use a second opinion." She approached cautiously. The displays showed Hive positions, fleet movements, attack vectors. Marcus explained his strategy, pointing out weaknesses in the enemy formation. Then he paused. "You studied military tactics at the Royal Academy," he said. It was not a question. "I did." Kira was surprised. He knew this fact. What would you do here? He indicated a gap in his formation. She studied the display, old instincts rising. The hive will expect you to reinforce that position. They will commit reserves to exploit it. But if you make it appear even weaker, draw them in, you can collapse both flanks and trap them. Marcus stared at the display for a long moment, then began adjusting his plans. That is brilliant, he said softly. Would you help me refine it? They worked together for hours. Kira forgot to be afraid. Marcus listened to her ideas, built upon them, treated her suggestions with the same respect he showed his senior officers. When they finished, he thanked her genuinely. You have a gift for this, he said. Your people are lucky to have you. Something tight in Kira's chest loosened slightly. The battle for Draxus began 3 days later. Kira watched from the command center, where Marcus had invited her to observe. The human fleet moved with inhuman precision, executing the strategy they had designed together. Ships that should have fled instead held position, trusting in human engineering and human courage. Fighters launched into swarms, so thick they blotted out the stars, and the humans sang. She heard it over the combat channels, heard them roaring ancient war songs as they drove into the hive formations. They did not fight with cold efficiency. They fought with passion, with rage, with terrible joy, but it was not senseless brutality. Every maneuver had purpose. Every strike was calculated. The humans were not monsters. They were warriors defending what they had sworn to protect. When the last hive ship broke apart, the humans cheered. Marcus turned to Kira, relief naked on his face. Your people are safe, he said. We will clear the surface next. Kira felt tears forming in her eyes, a human expression her species had adopted through parallel evolution. Thank you, she whispered. Marcus shook his head. Thank you. Your strategy saved lives today. Human lives and Draxian lives. That night, for the first time, Kira approached Marcus in the common area of their quarters. He looked up from his reading, surprise evident. I wish to apologize, she said stiffly. I judged you before I knew you. I believed humans were monsters. Some of us are, Marcus replied quietly. Just as some Draxians are, I imagine. But most of us are just people trying to do our best. You did not have to be kind to me, Kira continued. The treaty was signed. You could have demanded anything. Marcus set down his book and met her eyes. My mother taught me that strength means nothing if you use it to hurt those weaker than you. Real strength is protecting people, lifting them up, treating them with dignity, even when no one would stop you from doing otherwise. Is that a human belief? It is my belief. Many humans share it. Many do not. He smiled slightly. We are complicated, we Deathworlders. Kira found herself smiling back. I am learning this. Weeks became months. The hive was driven from Draxian space. Human engineers helped rebuild the shattered colonies. Human doctors worked alongside Draxian healers. And in the quiet of their shared quarters, Kira and Marcus became friends. She learned that he loved music, that he could play a stringed instrument called a guitar. She learned that he missed his family on Earth, that he sent them messages every week. She learned that he had nightmares about the war. That command weighed heavily on him. That he second-guessed every decision that cost lives. He learned that she wrote poetry, that she could juggle, that she loved terrible jokes. He learned that she felt guilty for being safe while her people suffered, that she feared she was not strong enough to lead them. He learned that her favorite color was the specific shade of blue that Draxus's larger moon turned during eclipse season. One evening, Kira found Marcus standing at the viewport, staring at the stars with an expression of deep sadness. She approached and stood beside him. What troubles you? She asked. I received word today, he said quietly. The Alliance Council has determined that our union has served its purpose. The treaty is secure. They will grant us an annulment if we wish it. You can go home, Kira. You are free. The words should have brought joy. Instead, Kira felt a strange ache in both her hearts. And if I do not wish it? She asked softly. Marcus turned to her, hope and disbelief warring in his expression. What? You have treated me with more respect and kindness than anyone in my own court ever did, Kira said. You listen when I speak. You value my thoughts. You have never tried to control me or diminish me. You have shown me what partnership truly means. She reached out and took his hand, her scales against his skin. I was forced to wed you, Marcus Webb, but I choose to stay with you. He lifted her hand gently and pressed it to his forehead, a Draxian gesture of deep affection that he must have researched. Then I am the luckiest warrior in 2 galaxies, he said. Kira laughed, the sound free and genuine. We Deathworlders must stay together, she said, using the term that humans applied to themselves, claiming it for her own people who had survived the hive. We are complicated. Marcus smiled and pulled her close. Beyond the viewport, the stars shone cold and distant, but here, in this moment, there was only warmth.